What's good, y'all? Y'all are tuned in to Reggie Artiste TV, and this is your boy Reggie Artiste. We are going to get real tonight on Time to Get Real, and I guess the best way for me to put this video is we're going to talk about grief and talk about loss and losing close loved ones and things of that nature. Um, I'm gonna get real with y'all and be candid with y'all about some recent loss and grief that I do deal with and things of that nature. And, you know, if you can relate, definitely check in the comments and we just gonna keep it rolling. Hopefully, I don't get emotional. I'm not one of the people that cry on camera. I'm not good. I am a frequent crier. Excuse me, a frequent crier. Nonetheless, I don't cry in front of people unless they are very close to me. So I don't publicly cry, or it's not something that I do. I may have cried on camera one time, and even then, when I was on the panel, I couldn't even really produce the tears. Like, I felt that way, but it's something about people seeing me cry that keeps me from crying. I don't know what that's about. But nonetheless, we're gonna get into recently, I suffered I didn't suffer because I'm not gonna say it in the past tense. I'm suffering a great loss. And I've been dealing with it pretty well and doing the best that I can not to be sad, not to cry, and not to just lay in the darkness in my room like I did at first when I initially got the news. But a very good childhood friend of mine, who I grew up with, went to high school with, went to college with, and have shared some very great memories even after then as adults with each other. Um, she passed away. And I'm not even going to be mild about it and sit here and say she passed away. And the reason why I say that is because she was not sick. This was not something that we were expecting. This was not a freak accident where life just ran its course and something happened while she was just living her life. No, she was taken away from us by a coward nonetheless. And he's dead. The police did kill him. And I don't feel any closure in that. A part of me is happy that he's dead. And a part of me wants to be cheerful about it. But I can't be. For one, I try not to stoop to those types of evil levels and pits of hell. I really do. For two, it's not going to bring my friend back. And I don't want to get into the details of everything that happened because it's still a lot to process. And I cannot believe that she is gone. Nonetheless, I got that news and Scotty actually called me. I was on the phone with my sister. For those of y'all who watch the panel frequently, Y'all know my sister Stephanie. She be in the comments frequently. A couple of my sisters be in the comments, but Stephanie is one of the main ones that's always in the comments. Um, he called me late. And when he called me, it was real quiet. I was on the phone with Stephanie. I clicked over. And when it's quiet, when a person call you, you already know that it is not good news that they're going to deliver to you. And he was like, he started off real slow at what he wanted to say. And he was like, well, 3 of our classmates got shot. And 1 of them is dead. Now, when he first said got shot, I'm thinking that, you know, some people got together in Kent and it was some beef with some other people and some innocent bystanders got shot like how it normally happens, but that they were okay. And so I'm like, what? What happened? You know, on some gossip shit. And then he tells me who the classmates were. And then I was like, well, who died? And that's when he told me who it was. I mm, when he told me, I had to ask him because I just could not believe that that's what he said. And I'm just like, no, I know who you saying this happened to. This did not happen to. And then I just sat down on the chair in the kitchen because I had just fixed me some chicken gizzards. And I was on the phone with Steffi, telling her how I was going to tear them gizzards up, and I was so hungry. My mouth was drooling for those gizzards. I just had finished them. Right when he called, I was putting a lid on them because I had put them in a bowl, and I was putting a lid on them so that I could hold them and enjoy them just to myself once I got off the phone. When I really want to eat something, I just want to be to myself. No telephone, no TV, just me and that food and just enjoy it in the moment. And so I just was going to put the lid on it, which I did. I put the lid on it and I was waiting, and I wasn't waiting. I was on the phone with Steffi. And that's when, you know, Scotty called. So I just got like sidetracked. It's just that talking about this just make me like other level emotional, because it's something that I never thought would happen. Not this way. Nonetheless, I was in the kitchen because I had just finished making the gizzards and put the lid on them. And I just sat on the chair after he told me, and I just started crying. And he is the type of person to deal with those types of things. And so, you know, of course, he didn't stay on the phone. And I just continued to cry. I clicked over and I just cried my eyes out. I cried my eyes out for 2 days, just knowing that my beautiful, sweet friend, she had to go through that, and that happened to such a light. I've had my moments. I've grieved. I'm still grieving. I don't cry no more because it's been a month, and it's not that it's a time frame on it. It's just that I've cried so much about it within that month that I just don't know if I don't physically feel that I can produce the tears for it anymore. I hate that that happened to her. And when it comes down to grief, so many different things can occur with your emotions. I say so many things can occur with your emotions because I'm going to do a video about mental health, but for those of you who don't know, I do deal with bipolar disorder. It's not a very big factor in my life anymore because I've taken a handle over it. But it's not easy to have that handle over it either. So some things can trigger me sometimes into episodes, whether they are depressive, sad episodes that are emotionally driven, or manic, angry episodes that are emotionally driven, or episodes that are both manic and depressive. And when I first, I enjoyed my people. It was so good to be back home and love on everybody and see everybody and mourn together. Not that it's good to ever mourn, but to be with people that you love and that feel how you feel and are encouraging you and you are encouraging them. Excuse me. It feels good to have that. So I enjoyed that time with my people, but when I got back home, the worries of my real life had gotten to me. And normally I would be able to just turn the other cheek and just move forward. But I didn't. I ended up having a manic episode. I won't say what happened. I know that I'm withholding a lot of details from you all. But these are things that are not positive or productive in my life. And I don't want to detail those things. I don't want to detail my friend. And I don't want to say her name because I don't want people who are evil and internet trolls to know her name and use her name for negative shit and say stupid shit. And I don't want to detail what happened because, again, I'm still processing the shit. So yeah, people that I'm close with, people that are there to comfort me, yes, I'm detailing what happened with them so that they can know what's going on with me. And I am just using this as an outlet to get through my grief. So I don't want to detail what happened to her. And I don't want to detail what happened when I had the manic episode, because nonetheless, it's embarrassing for me. That part is, and I just was overwhelmed. I got all this shit going on, and then my friend is gone, and then this, like. No, I just snapped. I spazzed. And I felt bad afterwards. I had a horrible day afterwards. I laid in the bed. I cried. day because I knew that the truth was that it was about my friend. And the emotions that I had bottled up about that. I don't deal with death well. You know, my grandparents passed away, and on my dad's side, my grandparents passed away, and I didn't deal with it well. My grandfather, I had a lot of guilt, but I didn't feel it. I felt horrible. I took it extremely horrible. Horrible enough for them to pry me off the casket. Nonetheless, I still felt the peace. I saw him. The service was beautiful. It was exactly what he would have wanted. My grandfather was a gospel singer. We had church. It was just that. It was beautiful. And in the service, seeing that he looked 10 years, 15 years younger, that gave me peace. So I didn't really receive as hard of a time, but it was hard because of the guilt. And then when my grandmother passed the following year, there was so much guilt. You know, because my uncle on my mother's side, he passed away not 2 weeks. Well, I guess you could say 2 weeks. And then, you know, the funeral came. I went to Philly. And then I came home. And then my grandmother passed away. So really like a week. And my grandmother lived in New York. And I didn't say anything to anybody on my dad's side when I was in Philly, when I was in New York. Because it was always like this tug of war thing between my mom's side and my dad's side. And I didn't feel like dealing with that. And I just wanted to pay respects to my uncle and spend time with my family there. Again, as I stated earlier, it's a certain feeling when you are mourning with people who are mourning with you. And so this was my uncle, and that it was just what I wanted to do at that time. But that did not stop the guilt from me being like, damn, I could have said something and I could have seen grandma and I could have spent time with her because I had no clue that she was in the hospital. And I had issues with my dad at the time. We were not speaking. We didn't have a good relationship. There was a lot of things going on and a lot of things that have went on that we will talk about, or that I will talk about with you all. And I know that I keep saying that throughout the video, but there's so much shit that has happened to me that I've gone through. Nonetheless, my grandmother passed, and it was guilt, it was pain, it was hurt because my grandmother was killed. The nurse, whoever she was, the incompetent fucking bitch, always going to be that to me. Forever going to be that to me. Always going to be a dumb fucking bitch that I don't understand how she got a fucking license. The dumb, stupid ass fucking bitch stuck a feeding tube in my grandmother's lungs. And my grandmother fucking suffocated to death. And she fought through suffocating for 2 fucking days from the information that I received. So there was a lot of things that I felt about that. And that didn't come immediately. I mean, it came immediately because I was very distraught. I was very hurt. I stopped eating. I stopped caring for myself. So much everything that went on with me when my grandmother passed, it didn't hit right away when I say that, it's not because I didn't have that pain. All of the stuff that I just described is what I felt immediately. But then I began to just be okay. And the only reason that I was okay is because I continued to just work. The day after I received the news that my grandmother passed away, as sick and as hurt as I just told you all that I went to work the very next day. I was writing songs and working on music and doing anything to stay busy as much as possible so that I didn't have to deal with it. Time passed, and then it finally hit me one day. My grandmother is gone. And all of this fucked up shit happened. They fucked up at the morgue or the coroners, fucked up because they were not able to send her body to North Carolina on time. So I never got a chance to hug my grandmother again or kiss her or see her or have that last moment for any fucking thing. And so I broke down once that realization came. And when I say I broke down, I broke all the way the fuck down. I stopped speaking. I stopped talking. I didn't talk at work. I didn't talk at home. I didn't talk on the phone. I would text. I would make Facebook statuses about my state of mind, how depressed I was. There might have been some people who thought I was doing it for attention. It was never that. I just was going through, and that was the only outlet, because sometimes you don't want to hear that inspirational bullshit when it's inspirational bullshit about some shit that nothing can be done about, because none of the shit that you saying could ever fucking bring my grandmother back to life. Ever. So I don't be wanting to hear that shit, and I definitely didn't want to fucking hear that shit then. It's nothing that's going to ever make me be okay with someone being taken the fuck away from me. Ever. 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 Ever in life. Nothing that's going to make me be okay with that. So when I lose my grandmother and when I lose my friend because someone was negligent or someone was a fucking coward and too caught up in their emotions that they didn't think about the effects that they would have on other people, I don't have a fucking understanding for that, and I still have to pray about that. But then we have grief where my cousin and my great-grandmother and my aunt and my grandfather, they passed away. And my friend from high school. Again, I don't really like to get into too many names because you just never know where people are when they see things like this. But as hard as it was dealing with losing them, I could deal with it because it was something that happened naturally. Physical, natural causes. Nothing that somebody took them away. And that's the difference. And that's why this situation is so hard. I have some really dark, crazy thoughts sometimes. And I think about what it's going to be like when I die. And are people going to show love for me? Are people going to be hurt? Is it going to be a big turnout? Is the choir going to sound nice? Is the preacher going to preach a great sermon? Are they going to have church and rejoice in the blessing of the amount of years that they were able to spend with me? All of these things crossed my mind. And every time I thought about my funeral and thought about me not being here, my friend was always there. She was always there whenever I thought about that. So I just can't wrap my mind around this. She was the person that showed up for everybody. Always. She always showed up. And so with this being so fresh and still so new, I'm really dealing with this. I'm thinking about how I could have been a better friend, how I wish we was in contact more, and it was nothing personal on either end. She was a mother with 3 children, and I have my things going on, and we both just trying to figure life out and do life. And this is nobody's fault. That's nobody's fault. We didn't know that this was going to happen, because I know if we did, we would have spent so much time with each other. But that's how life is, unpredictable. And it's going to be moments, just like it's been moments. Even though I said I've cried all the tears that I can cry, with the right song, the right person that act just like her or say things just like her, come around. It's gonna hurt. But you know what? I just gotta continue to be productive, do my music, continue to upload videos for y'all, continue to work hard, getting this money, continue to build so that I could do something in her name. And every time I get up and record one of these videos, when I don't feel like it, when I've been drinking and I just been chilling, it's done in her name. Because I know grief all too well, I know that this is going to be a hard one. I'm never going to have an understanding for it. But if I can come out of going mute for 2 months, a month, going mute, I went mute for a month when my grandmother passed, when that reality finally hit. Like I said, I didn't talk. I didn't eat. I was 80 pounds. 89 if we want to be nice. And so many people was telling me, like, what's going on? What's wrong? You lost weight. I see myself every day, so I don't see the difference. But people who don't see you overnight or every single day, and they see you, and the last time they saw you, you was 120 pounds. The last time they saw you, you was 140 pounds. And now you are 80 pounds. The difference is going to be seen. And so I just learned from that situation with my grandmother that we can't get lost in grief and let ourselves wither away, because that's not what our loved ones would have wanted. But it's hard. It's hard. And I'm so glad that me and my friend were able to share a moment with each other just a year ago. Literally almost, well, it'll be a year ago in about 3 more weeks. And I wasn't even going to attend that event that day. But my mom convinced me to go. And I went. And we sat next to each other. And we had a great time. And we took some beautiful pictures with each other of us laughing our stomachs away. Just how we were in real life and how our relationship was. It was the epitome of me and her and how we were. And when I went home to lay my friend to rest, all I could do was kiss my mom on her cheeks and thank her for pushing me to go that day, because I wouldn't have had that moment I just made this video for anybody who was grieving or who was mourning someone or mourning loss and just have dark days, to let them know that they are not alone. And I'm still pushing, and we got to push together and keep moving. I don't really know what to say after this, but y'all who can relate, comment for me, share the video, like it, share your thoughts, and keep me in your prayers. Keep my friend in her prayers, in your prayers, excuse me. Keep her children in your prayers. Keep her family, her father, as she was his only child. And keep me, like I said, in your prayers for the family that I've lost. Keep their children, their loved ones in your prayers, because it's not easy and it never ends. It doesn't stop. You just learn to deal with it. Peace.